How's it going, guys? It's the Pixelated Pumpkin, and in today's video, we'll be taking a look at the just under 20 brand new Halloween animatronics released from HalloweenCostumes.com. This is their first wave of animatronics they're dropping because they have over 70 Halloween animatronics coming out this year. All of them, or at least most of them, are brand new. There's a few returning ones in here from years past, but they're still new to HalloweenCostumes.com, so I'm absolutely thrilled to be taking a look at all of these today. We have stuff from almost every company here, from Gemmy, Seasonal Visions, Techie Toys. It's really all here, which is absolutely awesome. HalloweenCostumes.com is pretty much working with every company now to bring us an absolutely fantastic Halloween animatronics. I think this is already their best year of all time, and this is only 1/3 of their lineup. It's absolutely insane to think that we'll be getting 70 animatronics from them. I am so hyped, so let's start taking a look at all of them.
Meat for the beast, meat for the feast. Hook, chain, and blade will harvest. Make way, your flesh will make a beautiful bounty.
Starting off, we have Ripsaw, made by Techie Toys and retailing for $250. Now, this is a very interesting animatronic in my opinion because it is from the very underrepresented genre of animatronics, the serial killer genre. Last year at HalloweenCostumes.com we got Buzzsaw, which I think Buzzsaw is better than this guy personally, but I don't think this one is bad. I think it's just very interesting how they decided to go about this guy, just the design and animation. It's just a little strange. I do like the huge buzzsaw he has that it actually spins too, of course. That's really awesome. It looks pretty cool. It's a little bit too big in my opinion though. It kind of looks like a giant pizza cutter, honestly, which is funny in my opinion. And I think it could have used a lot more blood just all over this guy. Definitely a little bit more blood would have helped. Also, the side-to-side animation is very slow. I really would have liked if he lifted up the buzzsaw up and down. I think that would have been really cool. And the audio, the voice is a little bit too deep for me. I think if they went with a bit of a more energetic, like this guy's gonna rush you with this thing sort of kind of voice, I think that would have fit him a little bit better. But I do really like the design, especially that gas mask with the light up eyes, really cool. And I do like how there is a light on the buzzsaw as well. You have those little LEDs there casting some light onto it, which of course, when you have this guy set up on Halloween night, that's gonna be important that people see his giant weapon. I really do like this guy though. Not my favorite. I definitely think Buzzsaw from last year was just a more creative and honestly more scary version of this guy. But this guy is still pretty cool in his own right. And it is so cool to have Techie Toys working for HalloweenCostumes.com. Before we get into the next animatronic, this is just a quick reminder to use the link in the description below to get 15% off HalloweenCostumes.com, and you'll also be helping out the channel at the same time. You can get anything you want in this video today for 15% off, and you'll also be helping out me, so it's a win-win situation. Our next animatronic is a brand new zombie, being Hops, the Dismembered Zombie. I really love that name. This guy retails for $300 and is made by Seasonal Visions. I think this is a really unique and really cool zombie animatronic in my opinion. While the design of the zombie himself is pretty generic, you know, classic shambling zombie with a suit and tie, I think the whole concept of him missing an arm and a leg and how he balances on one foot is just really cool and really smart in my opinion. And honestly, I do like the design quite a bit. Again, I think more blood would have really served this guy well, but other than that, this is just such a cool zombie animatronic, especially the animation here. I love how his torso sort of rocks, like it looks like he's trying to balance himself on his one leg. And the spinning of the arm there with the bloody flaps, I guess, or the skin, the frayed skin, I guess you could say, spinning about, looks really cool. I do love the stump that he has on his leg and hand. That is just such a cool feature. And overall, this is just a really, really great zombie animatronic. The audio I've definitely heard on a few zombie animatronics before, but it sounds great, you know, just perfectly fine zombie audio. Definitely one of the better zombie animatronics we've seen within the past few years in terms of all companies, to be honest. Just a really, really cool and pretty unique zombie animatronic.
First thing we gotta do is get me out of this body once and for all. You let me out of here right now! You got your wish. You're mine now, doll. We're dolls, you dope! Now sit back and learn from the master.
Here we have, of course, a brand new Chucky Halloween animatronic standing at 4.5 feet tall, so this one is actually quite large, made by Jemmy and retailing for $212. Now, of course, we basically got the definitive Chucky animatronic last year at Home Depot, so I really don't see a point in trying to follow that up, but in all honesty, this is not a terrible looking Chucky animatronic. I don't think it's the best, of course. The animation is pretty weak on this one, and the design is not flawless, to say the least, but it is better looking than most of the Chuckies we've gotten in the past, at least in animatronic form, but there really is no beating that Home Depot one. I definitely think for Jemmy, this is a pretty good license prop. They typically are not known for being the most accurate when it comes to their license props, at least the recent licensed animatronics from them, but if we go back, of course, they were the kings, but now they've kind of fallen off, but this one truly is not terrible in my opinion. The animation could be a lot better, but remember, it could look a lot worse. Here we have the 3 stacked acrobatic animatronic clowns, designed by Brick Thunder, a fellow Halloween YouTuber, and retailing for $340. Now, I know people are immediately going to suspect that I hate this one, and I wouldn't blame you, as I've been very, very critical about clowns in the past, but to be honest, this one isn't terrible, and I actually kind of like it. For one, it does classify as a gigaprop because it is over 12 feet, standing at 13 feet tall, and typically for gigaprops, we only ever see one giant character, like one giant clown or one giant skeleton, but here we get 3 separate clowns all standing up and in their own little poses stacked on top of each other to make a 13-foot tall prop, which I actually think works quite well here. I also really like how they don't have any goofy phrases, they just sort of laugh amongst themselves, which is definitely a positive in my opinion, and the designs of them aren't terrible. So I don't love this one, but I think for a gigaprop, it is pretty unique. Well, I guess we did have the clown stack at Home Depot last year, but I don't think that thing was nearly as tall as this one. So for being a 13-foot tall prop, I think this works quite well actually.
I will be faithful to you, and you alone. Let us join forever.
Even after death!
The next animatronic is another super unique one, being Mary the Unhappily Ever After, made by Techie Toys and retailing for $195. So this is our first sub $200 prop, and I have to say, this is a great one. Definitely one of the absolute best bride animatronics we have seen in quite a while. I really love the design of this one. I think it's very creepy, and honestly, for the first time in a while, I think the light up eyes on this one actually add a lot to it. I love how they're all bloodshot, the whites of her eyes. It makes it really creepy looking. And I absolutely love the black light effect as she does the jump scare. That's really cool that they put a UV light on this animatronic. It just makes the whole thing glow like a ghost, and I absolutely love that effect. I also really like the face sculpt here. It's very realistic and just very scary looking, and I think the hands are really cool as well with those really sharp fingernails. The animation is also great on this one, a pretty solid little jump scare, and just I think this is all around a really unique and really good animatronic. Definitely one of my favorites from HalloweenCostumes.com thus far. Even the audio on this one is really solid. Just an all-around great animatronic.
I've been roaming these desolate lands for 1,000 years. I'll consume whoever is foolish enough to get in my way. I smell a fresh body to add to the others. Ah, yes. Look at you. Now go and meet your doom. Give your respects to the dead. They are at rest now. You can see for yourself as I bury you next to them.
Our next animatronic is Tony Tombstone, the Graveyard Caretaker, made by Seasonal Visions and retailing for $350. Now, I think this is just a super unique and very creative giant skeleton monster animatronic. I think they did a spectacular job here. I absolutely love the tombstones on his back. It's like he rose right out of the earth in a graveyard, obviously, and they're just sticking out of his back now, which just looks so cool. It's very creative, sort of that classic spooky Halloween vibe going on, and it's just so unique as well. I absolutely love the face on this one, the whole earthy vibe sort of going on with the green creepy cloth all over him and sort of the dirt covered body. It just looks so cool. I really like the audio as well. And unfortunately for his long demo video, his mouth animation isn't working, but as you could see in this small clip right here, he does indeed have mouth animation, which of course is great. He's a pretty standard Seasonal Visions animatronic. Like, we've seen stuff like this from them before, but this is just a brand new spin on the big skeleton reaper sort of thing, which works super well in my opinion. Overall, this is definitely one of the best Halloween costumes has this year, and just so creative, and I just love those tombstones on his back. Here we have the Nun, officially licensed, made by Jemmy, and retailing for only $145. So I think for an $150 prop, this isn't that bad. Obviously, it is not that great looking, and the animation is just kind of goofy, but for a Nun animatronic, this is definitely one of the best we've seen. They really haven't done much with the Nun from the Conjuring universe in terms of Halloween animatronics. I think we had one from Morbid Enterprises years ago, and that one looked way worse than this, so I can't complain too much. I haven't seen any of the Conjuring movies. I'm not really all that into that franchise, nor have I seen any of the Nun movies, so I really can't speak much about this prop, but I don't think it is the best looking. I mean, for a Jemmy prop, it's not terrible. Just the animation could have been a little bit better, I guess, but I don't really know what they would have done otherwise. Overall, this is probably my least favorite we've seen so far, but it's not terrible. Next up is something very original, being the Dire Dragon's Head animatronic. This one is yet again designed by Brick Thunder and retails for $300. Now, this is, of course, is not an animatronic as you control it, and I have to say, this is a really good looking sculpt for the dragon's head, and I like how fog can come out of it as well. It's definitely interesting doing something like this. It's definitely made more for haunted houses rather than just, a yard decoration. So this is something that I guess will probably be purchased more so by people who run haunted houses or professional haunted house attractions. So I think it's an interesting concept. I think it would have been cool if the dragon could sort of lunge out at people, like you could push forward and the dragon head will like shoot out almost. But other than that, I have to say, it's an interesting concept, and we'll see where this goes in the future. I guess animatronics or whatever they want to call them. It's a pretty cool name. And I'm looking forward to seeing if they do anything else with this, like maybe do another sort of monster head or something like that. Here we have Frederick the Floating Phantom, retailing for $250 and made by Seasonal Visions. Now, in all honesty, I think this is a really, really great ghost animatronic. We don't see too many ghost animatronics anymore, so when we get a good one, it's really nice to see. And this one is just cool in my opinion. I really love the animation. I love how he has that arm swaying. It looks very fluid and realistic. And the face sculpt on this one is really creepy looking. It reminds me of the MTV Scream TV show mask a little bit, just more realistic, I guess. And I just think this is a really, really cool ghost. I like the lantern as well. That's a nice touch, add a little bit of light to him. And I think the phrases are cool too. I can't really understand what he's saying in the demo video, but it sounds spooky enough for me, so I'm fine with that. Other than that, there isn't too much to say about him. He is a pretty standard phantom ghost, just with a really, really cool looking face. I feel like they easily could have turned this into another hooded phantom with just two glowing eyes, but they did the right thing by giving him a really spooky looking ghost face. Overall, I think this one is great, and it's just a cool ghost animatronic. It's nice to see.
Over here. Don't leave me this way. I'm looking for my soul. Where am I? I feel so lost.
Here is the 12-foot lighted zombie animatronic made by Gemmy and retailing for $340. Now this, of course, is a reskin of the mummy, the 12-foot mummy we saw at Lowe's a few years back. They kind of been reskinning this thing over and over again, but to be honest, I think this is one of the better iterations of it. I like the phrases on it. It's pretty cool to have a 12-foot character with phrases. The side-to-side animation is nice. I really like the lights on it. And the cloth they chose too this time around, a much darker, dirtier looking cloth to put all over him. I think it actually looks really cool. Overall, I don't have too much to say about this guy because he's been around for a few years now, basically, so it's a decent 12-foot character. Here we have Salivation, designed by Brick Thunder and retailing for $212. Now, I think out of all the Brick Thunder animatronics, I guess you could say this is probably the worst one this year. It's basically a freaky animatronic with a tongue that is way too big. I don't despise this one, though. I don't think it's that bad. I think it could have been better. It definitely could have been better. The tongue is not the best looking, not the most realistic or gross looking thing in the world, and that's kind of the main draw of this character. But I do really like the sort of shaking effect it has. That actually looks really gross and pretty realistic. Definitely does add that layer of realism. The tongue design, I guess, is missing. And I do like the face on this guy too. It's sort of a ghoul demon type thing. So this one isn't that bad. I just prefer the other ones, honestly. The dragon and even the clown stack too were just a little better than this guy. But this one is pretty huge at 8 feet tall, so this one is tall as well. So overall, I don't have too much to say about this one other than that it's just okay.
More furnishings for my cave. Your soft little bodies will make a good bed for me to rest upon. And a handy snack if I get hungry. You best start running. I like a good chase to work up my appetite. I'm coming up from my hellish pit, and when I get free, I'm coming for you first.
Our next one, in all honesty, has been a long time coming. This is Galax, the underworld demon, retailing for $300 and made by Seasonal Visions. Now, the reason I said this one's a long time coming is because it's a reskin of the Underworld Clown all the way back from Moore's Costumes in 2020, and people have been begging for that thing to be reskinned ever since it came out, and they finally done it, and I think this one surpasses the original Clown in my opinion. Even though I am a big fan of the Underworld Clown, I think this demon version is just so much better and way scarier looking. I am getting this one. It should be on the channel within a couple weeks, honestly. They are shipping it out to me really early, which is nice, and I cannot wait to get my hands on this guy. He is absolutely awesome. I love the design of the Underworld monsters, I guess we'll call them now, since the Underworld Clown's called the Underworld Clown. This guy's called the Underworld Demon, so clearly they have sort of a naming thing going on with this. I believe he does borrow some of the same phrases as the Underworld Clown, but in all honesty, that's fine with me because the Underworld Clown had some pretty badass phrases, and them being transferred to this guy is just pretty cool. I love the lighting on this one as well. The lighting in the ribcage area as well as the eyes look super cool. And of course, the animation is just fantastic. That slow swaying from side to side and that awesome mouth movement. So cool. This is definitely my favorite HalloweenCostumes.com has given us this year so far, but remember, after we look at all the animatronics today, there are still so much more to come from them, so remember, this guy probably won't be my favorite for long, but he definitely is just an awesome one, and I cannot wait to get him. Well, one of them had to be the worst. This is the Annabelle doll, of course, made by Jemmy and retailing for $130. Now, this does not really look like Annabelle all that much. The face is very, very derpy looking. And like I've said, I really don't engage much in the Conjuring universe, so I really don't know what Annabelle's whole deal is other than that she's a haunted doll, of course. And yeah, this is just not a great looking version of her. I think Trick or Treat Studios' doll of Annabelle is the best you'll get, but I guess for an animatronic version, I believe this is probably the only one we have. I guess it's fine. I don't think Annabelle moves at all in the movies, though. I could be wrong about that, but the head motion is nice, I guess. Overall, I mean, it looks close enough to Annabelle in the movies, but the eyes are just so derpy and goofy looking on this, so that definitely knocks a few points off for me, but overall, not bad. Here we have an inflatable being the 33-foot tall Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That's right, they're coming out with a 33-foot tall one, retailing for $600. But they're also coming out with a 50-foot tall one that is literally double the size of my house, and I'm pretty sure that's only 10 feet away from how tall he is in the actual movie, so that's just absolutely ludicrous. But it's not on the website yet, so I can't tell you how much that one retails for, but I'm guessing probably around $800, I would imagine. I mean, 50 feet tall is just absolutely ludicrous. Same with 33 feet. That is huge. I don't know how many people are going to be getting these, but I would love to see these in person, but I think I'm just going to stick with the 25-foot tall one I have right now. And finally, we have 3 returning props from Big Lots last year, now being brought over to HalloweenCostumes.com because Big Lots, well, went kaput. But we have 3 amazing techie animatronics right here, 2 of which there are already reviews of on the channel, so I'm not going to dwell on these guys for too long. But we have the Lumbering Zombie, the Raven Scarecrow, and the best werewolf Halloween animatronic ever, the Howling Werewolf. These are 3 absolutely amazing animatronics in my opinion. You basically have the best Scarecrow and best werewolf animatronic of all time available at HalloweenCostumes.com right now. So these are 3 I definitely recommend, since I do own all 3 of them. Well, everybody, that is going to do it for all of HalloweenCostumes.com 2025 animatronics thus far. We still have 55 more animatronics we have yet to see from them, and that is just absolutely mind-boggling to me. I absolutely love how HalloweenCostumes.com is going all in on the animatronics this year, and they're working with some of the best companies now to bring us some of the best props I've seen in a while. Seriously, I am so excited to see what else they have this year. This first wave is pretty much a 10 out of 10 in my opinion. There are a few stinkers here and there, but overall, honestly, we're off to an amazing start. And if this is any sign for how the 2025 Halloween animatronics will be, then we are in for a treat this year for basically every store. I know Lowe's stuff got leaked recently, but honestly, it's not worth looking at. They're the only company that seems to be falling behind this year. We still have to see from Spirit and Home Depot, but right now, HalloweenCostumes.com is on top, and with just the sheer amount of stuff they have, they might be on top overall for the entire year, but we'll see. Anyways, be sure to use that link in the description. Again, you'll get 15% off the entire HalloweenCostumes.com website, and you'll be helping me out at the same time. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know which animatronic thus far is your favorites in the comments below. And with that, everybody, remember this one thing: nobody outpixelates the pumpkin.